Marvel games have some pretty varied villains, it must be said. From the weird and wacky to the downright insane, there's always something for everyone. That being said, putting them in a list where 90% of villains seem to be concentrated in Insomniac's Marvel's Spider-Man is harder than you'd think. Well, here's our top 5 Marvel villains in video games. Number 5. Doc-Ock. Number 5 on our list is the master of villainous flailing, Doc-Ock, also known as Dr. Otto Octavius. Considering how maniacal this flailing can be sometimes, we would normally rank him much higher. But in the grand scheme of things, Octavius actually has more reasonable and understandable excuses for effectively being an evil 8-limb version of one of those giant waving inflatables you get at a car showroom. Octavius had been on the verge of perfecting advanced prosthetic limb technology, motivated by a neurological disorder that had been progressing, and then that same project got shut down by our good old royal douche canoe Norman Osborn, thanks to him exploiting his position as mayor. You can therefore understand, why after Octavius loses control after a defect with the neural implants affects his mind and personality, he goes after Osborn to destroy his empire. As villains go, Doc-Ock is probably the most understandable. And it's for that reason he's only number 5 on our list, because there are a lot worse than him in the Marvel gaming universe. Number 4. Kingpin. Another character from Marvel's Spider-Man's coffers, we'd normally rank Kingpin much higher than this. He's huge, physically imposing as all hell, and is one insane mastermind. Just one thing, he only appears right at the start of the game. While he's the main point of the early missions, and you get a fun and creative fight, then boom, he's gone. Oh, and apparently his absence changes New York, but little actually manifests itself to prove this fully true. Wilson Fisk may be the ultimate crossover villain between Spider-Man and Daredevil, but he just doesn't have enough of a presence in the game to really justify putting him much higher than 4th, even though he's probably one of my favourite villains. Number 3. Taskmaster. Onto a villain who's not in Spider-Man. Shock! Horror! Taskmaster is the secondary antagonist in Marvel's Avengers. Aside from the very easy reference I could make to a popular British TV programme, Taskmaster is about as far from Greg Davies as you could possibly get, apart from the maniacal deviousness with which they plot their schemes. Anthony Masters was once a pretty basic rank-and-file SHIELD agent with the ability to mimic the abilities of his targets. But since he was aggressive and had highly questionable methods, he was dishonourably discharged from SHIELD. Obviously, this made him very angry, and now he does what every good supervillain does: hopes to exact revenge. As much as he's a very formidable foe in the Marvel's Avengers game, he's only a secondary antagonist, and that relates him to 3rd on this list, right behind number 2, Thanos. Here he is again, the big purple guy is back, and this time he's in Telltale's Guardians of the Galaxy. Also, since this game was released before Endgame and even Infinity War, he didn't exactly return, but you get what I mean. However, this is a completely different Thanos. He's still raised Gamora and Nebula as his daughters, and both of them turn out to be deadly assassins, and yes, they both eventually defected from him. But where it changes is that he goes on to attack the Nova Corps in an attempt to steal the Eternity Forge. Unlucky for him, he's right by the Guardians of the Galaxy at the time. After an intense battle, the Guardians manage to stop Thanos. They also managed to kill him in a pretty shocking and unexpected opening to the game. Thanos, the almighty Titan, beaten by a guy from Earth with headphones and a Walkman. But I hear you all scream, why is Thanos only 2nd? Look, Thanos is all powerful, but to be honest, the fact that he died in this game so easily puts him at 2nd. The main villain on our list is just as evil, but for slightly less maniacal reasons. Number 1. M.O.D.O.K. Ah yes, our good old mental organism designed only for killing. Lovely original name that, and I'm glad they abbreviated it. M.O.D.O.K is the main antagonist of Marvel's Avengers, and was originally Dr. George Tarleton, but thanks to the general superhero movie trope of the evil villain generally being produced by a scientific accident of some type, he became M.O.D.O.K. Tarleton as a person was actually not too bad on the outside, and grew up in an arbitrary rural area when he was younger. Abandoned wolves, rabies dog killings, and a shot wolf later, and Tarleton was set in his view that creatures only act on nature and can't be tamed. He also harboured quite the resentment for the Avengers, mostly founded from jealousy. The most insane part of it all is that after he was fully realised as M.O.D.O.K, he vowed to kill every Inhuman on Earth, even if it ended with himself. Diabolical. What did you think of our picks? Let us know in the comments below.